11,000 years ago, on a hilltop in southeastern Turkey, someone carved 50-ton stone pillars, thousands of years before farming, pottery, or writing existed. For decades, no one could explain who built Göbekli Tepe. Ancient DNA has finally changed that. Stone circles rise from the earth, each crowned by pillars that dwarf a grown man. Some of these monoliths reach over 5 meters in height and weigh nearly 50 tons. The limestone, quarried from nearby hills, was shaped and carved with animal figures, lions, snakes, wild boar, etched in high relief by hands that had never seen metal or pottery. The air itself seems to hold the memory of a vanished world. No trace of the usual tools of settled life appears in the soil, no ceramic shards, no signs of domesticated wheat or barley, not even a single clay pot. Yet the ground is thick with evidence of something else. Over 100,000 animal bones, splintered and burnt, lie scattered among the enclosures. These are the leftovers of feasts on a scale that defies the imagination, prime cuts from wild aurochs, gazelle and deer, butchered and roasted in fire pits large enough to cook for hundreds. Everywhere, the scale of human effort is impossible to ignore. Moving a single pillar would have demanded the strength and skill of dozens, if not hundreds, working in concert. But who were these people? Who gathered here in the millennia before farming, and what drove them to build the world's first stone sanctuary? The silence of the stones only deepens the puzzle. For years, the search for the builders of Göbekli Tepe circled the same dead end. No human bones, no DNA, not a single genetic trace left in the dust of the sanctuary. The stones kept their secret. But just 70 kilometers away, in the ancient settlement of Kayonu, another kind of evidence surfaced. A genetic time capsule buried beneath house floors, sealed in the bones of the dead. Researchers pieced together a new data set from these remains, dated between 9,500 and 8,500 BCE, the same centuries when Göbekli Tepe's circles rose from the earth. The DNA told a story no artifact could, a three-way blend of ancestries drawn from the Anatolian Plateau, the Levant, and the distant Zagros Mountains. This was not a closed community. Bloodlines crossed hundreds of miles, woven together by migration, marriage, and exchange. The ancestries were mixed and mobile. One child stood out, a 4-year-old buried with kin whose genome revealed a striking affinity to the Zagros highlands. Most of the Kayanu villagers carried a mix, about 55% Anatolian, 30% Levantine, 15% Zagros. But this child was different. Nearly 70% of her ancestry traced back to the east, a living link to distant mountains, proof that people and ideas moved across the Fertile Crescent long before the first wheat was sown. Kinship mapping showed that these early households were built around extended families, second-degree relatives clustered beneath the same roof. In the absence of written records, the DNA sketched a network of kin, migration, and connection, hinting at the kind of social glue that could marshal hundreds to build a sanctuary of stone. The faces behind Göbekli Tepe's pillars begin to emerge not as a single tribe or isolated band, but as a mosaic of peoples drawn together by ritual, memory, and ties of blood. A surge of people swept out of Upper Mesopotamia, carrying more than just stone carving skills or wild hunting traditions. They carried a genetic signature, haplogroup G2A, that would ripple far beyond the hills of southeastern Turkey. In 2022, a landmark DNA study traced this marker as it pulsed westward, riding the same currents that would, centuries later, seed the first farming villages across Anatolia and into the heart of Europe. Where once archaeologists saw only isolated foragers, the evidence now points to a vast network, a population flow that bound Göbekli Tepe's builders to distant lands. G2A didn't just dominate the local gene pool, it became the backbone of the early European farmers, a thread woven through the continent's Neolithic tapestry. The story of Göbekli Tepe is not confined to a single hilltop. Its legacy moves with the bloodlines, reshaping the genetic landscape of an entire continent. Across the limestone ridges of southeastern Turkey, stone sanctuaries rise in clusters. Göbekli Tepe is only the beginning. The Tas Tepeler region stretches for miles, studded with sites like Karahan Tepe, where more than 250 T-shaped pillars have been uncovered in tight concentric rings. Each pillar stands silent, some carved with human faces, others with hands pressed flat against the stone. At Karahan, a single enclosure holds a face pillar, its features still sharp after 10,000 years, watching over a sunken chamber lined with benches. The scale is staggering. Hundreds of pillars, each weighing several tons, quarried, shaped, and set in place by people who had never seen a wheel. Beneath the surface, archaeologists have found stone cisterns plastered to hold rainwater and grinding platforms worn smooth by years of use. These were not fleeting campsites. They were engineered landscapes, built to gather, to store, to endure. The sacred architecture of Tas Tepeler reveals a network far more organized and far more invested than anyone once believed. Beneath the mound, a secret act of closure took place. Around 8000 BCE, the builders themselves buried Göbekli Tepe's circles under tons of earth and rubble, sealing the enclosures with careful layers of sediment, plaster, and broken stone. This was not the slow drift of time or the work of erosion. It was a deliberate burial, a final gesture that preserved the site as a time capsule, locking away its meaning and its maker's intentions. Yet for all that's been uncovered, more than 95% of Göbekli Tepe remains untouched beneath the surface. Only a handful of trenches cut into the vast mound, exposing just a sliver of the whole. The rest lies hidden, its secrets protected by the very people who built it. The questions multiply. Why did they bury their masterpiece? What stories remain sealed in the layers below? Until more of the ground is opened, the answers and the true scale of this ancient world will stay just out of reach, waiting for future hands to uncover them. Göbekli Tepe rewrites the origin story. DNA reveals a mosaic of ancestries, not a single spark. As the soil yields secrets, we're forced to ask, what else have we overlooked? Share your theories below.